Hey, what's up everybody? Thanks for coming back to the garage. Today I'm gonna finally start getting the 5.3 out of the Envoy. So let's go outside and hit it. All right, so I'm out here on the side drive. I've been working for a couple hours on the Envoy. So let me show you where I'm at. Alright, so I got the exhaust manifolds off on both sides, and then I also undid the rear connection on the Y pipe so I could move the whole Y pipe out of the way should I need to. So it's still sitting down there. Unless you pull the training cross member, it's like impossible to get that thing out. So it's hanging out down there, but it's loose. I can move it anywhere I need to. Got the washer fluid reservoir out. That's sitting over on right over there. And that frees up a lot of room on this side so that you can get to exhaust manifold bolts. Unfortunately, from the last person that worked on this thing, I found 3 broken exhaust manifold bolts. Go figure. So I'll have to address that when the heads are off and in the shop. But yeah, you can see down there, the hardest part was getting the spark plug wires off. Every one of those wires like stuck to the end of the plugs. But so I got that stuff going. I got the radiator lower hose off and catching all the coolant down here. I'll just take that up to advance and recycle that. So I'm just getting stuff prepped and ready for the engine to come out. I'm going to take a lunch break, and then the next thing that I'll do is pull the fan and radiator and all that stuff out of the way and free up a bunch of room. I'll probably take the take this grill and the panel behind it, if I can take the panel behind it off. I'll probably take that stuff off too, give me plenty of room to be able to get the engine out. I might have to take the headlights out to get that whole panel off, but you know, we'll see how that goes. So it's coming along. Once I get the radiator and fan out of the way, then I'll go back downstairs and you know, pull the starter, torque converter bolts, bell housing bolts, that kind of stuff. And then I can move back up here and I'll pull the intake off and, you know, the accessory drive and stuff. I'm probably going to have to get my little puller in there and pull the power steering pump pulley off so that I can get that out of the way. But once I do the downstairs stuff, then I'll have the fan and radiator and all that out of the way over here. And then I can come in here and get all this accessory drive stuff out of the way, and then it'll be ready to come out. So really not too bad. Once you start getting stuff out of the way, there's a decent amount of room in there. This AC line sucks, but it's about to be summertime, so I'm not disturbing that. So that'll be a little bit of a challenge, but I think I can unbolt the AC compressor down there and then just set it up right here where the washer reservoir was. So that might give me a little bit of room, and then I'll be able to get the motor out. So that's what's next. I'll go ahead and get on that stuff. I'll catch back up to you when I have the fan and radiator and all that out. All right, so I took a little longer break than I had planned on, and now I got back out here and it's getting dark. So I'll show you where I'm at. I've got the radiator and fan. Of course, the neighbor's AC starts running right when I'm talking. I've got the radiator and fan out. All the shroud and everything like that sitting over there. So, you know, integral transmission cooler. So there's the transmission cooler lines. I'm just going to throw some plastic bags on those and zip tie them so I'm not leaking fluid while I'm trying to work up here. And then tomorrow I will go about pulling off the accessory drive right up here, and then I'll get the intake manifold off, and then I still have downstairs to do. I need to do bell housing bolts and the starter and torque converter bolts. So, and then loosen up the motor mounts. So still a few things to do, but it's definitely you know, definitely coming along, and hopefully tomorrow I'll be able to get it out and set it on a stand. All right, back out here on the Envoy. All right, so today I'm gonna go do all the downstairs stuff down there. I do like the nuts on the bottom of the motor mounts, bell housing bolts, torque converter bolts, that kind of stuff. I'll get all that downstairs stuff buttoned up. You know, you can't see down there anyway, so I'll just do all that stuff off camera. Then I'll catch up with you guys here shortly when I have all that done. And after all that's done, then I'll work on getting the accessory drive off. We'll pull the intake manifold off, and then we'll be about ready to come out. So stand by. All right, so I'm getting there. I'm a little bit closer. Let me show you what I got going on here. So I got most of the downstairs stuff done. There's still some bell housing bolts that I can't reach, but the starter's out, torque converter bolts are out. Engine mount bolts, or the nuts on the bottom, are still down there. So I still need to drain the oil and take those engine mount nuts off down there. But I'm going to jump up to the upstairs area here, and I'm going to go ahead and pull off this whole accessory drive and then the intake manifold. And I'll be able to, once the intake manifold's off, I'll be able to kind of reach around the back there and get the rest of the bell housing bolts, and then be ready to bolt it onto the hoist and pop it out of there. All right, so I got all the accessory drive off. Power steering pump is just sitting down there, and I'm gonna like pull it back and like zip tie it to that section of the harness right there, just so it'll be out of the way as much as possible. This sucks. This AC compressor is not going anywhere. These lines, there's too much hard line to be able to move it anywhere. So I'm just gonna have to push that down as far as I can, and then I'll just put a zip tie kind of loosely around this section and just pull it over, just to give me as much room as I can get. But that's going to be a challenge for sure, so that sucks. But I did get the little extra bracket off of it, so with the little has a little tensioner down there, so that gives me a little extra room. But as you can see, it's a tight fit for sure. So the next thing I'm going to do is get the intake manifold popped off. There's just a couple of hoses and then the fuel line, and then I can pull that thing off. And then the last thing I'll need to do is get to the upper bell housing bolts. Once that intake is off of there, then I'll be able to reach kind of down behind and pull those bolts out. So that's what I'll do next. Alrighty, there we go. Intake manifold is off. I just need to pull off the DOD sensor, I think that's what that is, and the oil pressure sensor, and then get right back there and grab a couple of the top bell housing bolts. But that should be about it. So I'm going to try to use my load leveler and just get it down kind of low in the intake valley and bolt it to the cylinder heads in the front and back, and then pick it up. And I'm probably going to have to kind of, you know, come out this way with it a little bit because of that that AC compressor. So that's the next thing I'll do. I don't know if I'll get to it tonight, but the next time I'm out here, I'll get that thing bolted on, the load leveler, and then pull this motor out and get it on a stand and pressure wash the hell out of it. It's obviously super dirty. It's leaking every fluid it has, I feel like. Look at the timing cover down here. It's caked in grease and oil. Same thing over here. Valve covers. Those valve covers aren't painted. That's just oil and grease. It's disgusting. Over here too. So I'll get it on a stand and soak it in engine degreaser and pressure wash it and all that, and then get it in the shop and swap the cam. All right, here's something that's key to doing a project like this. You know, when you have so much of a car taken apart, organization is paramount. Especially, you know, for me, I'm in a 2-car garage, and I have 2 trucks taken totally apart right now. So all of that stuff down there is all engine parts, both new parts and the old parts that need to go back on for the 360 that's sitting over there. I'm going to do the same thing for the Envoy. These are all bags that I've tagged with everything I took off today, and you know, just tag it, throw the bolts in a bag, and then these things are super cheap from Harbor Freight. This is what I use. Yeah, I'll just set all my bags in here, and they'll all be organized and ready to go for when I get this whole box of new parts on that motor and go put it back in. So bag and tag your bolts. That's essential to getting something like this done, and you know, getting it back together when you're ready. All right, I got this thing about ready to come out, but after doing some ruminating on what I was going to do with it, I just decided that AC compressor down there was just, along with this line right here, just so tight. So I had my buddy Kevin come over and use his AC machine to evacuate the system, and I'm just going to take it off right here and right up here, and then that way I can pull the condenser, the compressor, and that crazy line out of the way, and then I'll have zero clearance issues to be able to lift the motor right out of there. So I'm going to do that, and then it'll be ready to go on a stand. All right, so I have my AC connections undone, and I just took Ziploc bags and put over the connections and zip tied them on there. And that way, that'll just keep any crud, any debris from getting in there while the system's open. And then once I have everything back in, I'll just replace the gaskets that go right here and on each side, and then get Kevin back over, and he'll recharge everything with the AC machine. So should be good to go. So I'll go ahead and scoop that compressor and the condenser out, and that'll be that. And there we go. With that compressor going, that opens up a mile of room. So now we'll have no problem at all getting that thing out. So I just need to get the load leveler bolted on and get the hoist out here. It can go on a stand. Oh, I went to the hardware store and spent $30 at our expensive ass local hardware store to get some engine stand bolts. So I got engine stand bolts. Great. All right, so I've got the engine hoist set up out here with the load leveler bolted on. All the motor mount bolts are off. Bell housing bolts are out. Down here, I have my floor jack with a piece of wood holding the, sitting right underneath the transmission pan, so I can jack the transmission up and move it around if I need to. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the tripod all set up, and then yank this thing out and get it on a stand. All right, I've been fighting this thing for about 20 minutes or so, trying to get the bell housing to separate from the block. I think I finally got it to start moving. Let's see. You can kind of see in the mirror right there that the bell housing and the block have just separated a little bit. So I'll throw the camera back up on the tripod. Let's see if I can get that to focus. There we go. Yeah, you can see it there. It's just starting to separate. Just hung up on those dowel pins. So I get the camera back up on the tripod and just keep working on it a little bit. And once it's all the way off those, you can actually see that dowel pin right there. Once it's all the way off of those dowel pins, then it should be no problem. All right. I've got, there you can see right there, I've got one dowel pin out. The driver's side is still hung up a little bit, so almost there. Got it. All right, there she is. Once I got the dowel pins out of the bell housing, wasn't so bad. So I'm gonna go ahead and spray it with some engine degreaser, and then hit it with the pressure washer and get it cleaned up so I can go on the stand and go inside. All right, so I'm just getting the engine stand bolted onto the back of the motor now. I got it all pressure washed. So it's looking all right. A lot of that grease is all gone. And I'm gonna bolt this engine stand on. I need to move it up kind of, in this fashion to kind of get it up as high as I can. And I'll tighten all that up and get it on the stand, roll it inside.